Hi, it's Esther here, Miss Esther to some of you, saying a quick hello before we start our very busy workshop. We have lots to do. Along the way, I'll add to the Ife city map and share some ideas for decorating the sculpture homes from workshop 4. I'll also share 2 ideas for making in 3D based on 2 ancient African kingdoms, Ife and Benin. You could make a sculpture using homemade clay based on the amazing shrine artworks from the Kingdom of Ife. If you have no clay at home, look at the How to Make Modelling Clay video. It's very easy. Or you can make a paper leopard face inspired by spiritual art from the Kingdom of Benin. For activity 1, you'll need some paints and some pens. First of all, we're going to decorate the sculpture homes from workshop 4. When I decorated my cave home, I was inspired by artist Nikki de Saint-Phal. I drew out some shapes that I liked, and then I went over the patterns with pen and with paint. You could paint your whole house first, but if you've got small pores, this might work better for you. And I used a sponge and a brush to paint mine. You can also stick some found objects like buttons and extra things to your home, or stick on collage paper patterns, or create a texture using sand and glue. Just experiment, enjoy, and make your home fantastic. This is the tent house that my son did, and it's decorated with super derp symbols, and he created a pie face as well. This is my finished cave home, and I drew on a mosaic pattern. In this second making activity, we'll be making some art based on the beautiful spiritual art from the Kingdom of Ife and the Kingdom of Benin. Some of this artwork dates back over 2,500 years. Have a look at the pattern making used in the terracotta clay to make the face or the animal features really stand out. I chose to make a face based on this royal art from the Kingdom of Ife. Start off by squishing and shaping your clay. Put a ball of paper under your clay to support it and start shaping on top of the ball of paper. This means it's quicker to dry because it's more hollow. To stick 2 pieces of clay together, you need to wet and mark the clay first to make it rough so it will stick. I used some objects from home to decorate my clay. I had some split pins. You could use drawing pins as well. You can use the end of a pencil to make a pattern or a butter knife. I added string and took it out to make a pattern, then really liked the string and just left it in. So experiment, have fun. Remember to squish and press and roll and really shape your clay. We added a sculpture based on the electric mudfish, which was is a symbol of the Oba's powers. It's a traditional symbol because a catfish can exist out of water and deliver an electric shock. The homemade clay will take at least a week pretty much to dry. The next activity will be adding to the Ife map. Ife is the Yoruba word for love. Here you can see I'm adding modern roads on top of the city walls that we painted in workshop 4. Ife is a modern city in Nigeria. Ife is also an ancient West African kingdom. In Yoruba myth, Ile Ife is where the world began. Ife was the ancestral home of 16 kingdoms, including the Kingdom of Benin. To add to the Ife art map, I gathered some West African objects I have at home. I started by copying some fabric patterns, and I've included some pictures of African fabrics that I have for you to create your own fabric patterns on your own Ife-inspired map. A pattern is a shape or line repeated over and over. Draw, outline, arrange, add, and repeat. Bold patterns that really stand out. What other objects and fabrics could you use to add to your maps? I drew around the inside of beads, my African beads, to create an oval shape and then patterned back in. We'll carry on adding to the Ife map in the next workshop. Our fourth activity is to make a paper leopard inspired by spiritual art and objects from the Kingdom of Benin. The leopard is a very important symbol as it's the counterpart to the oba in the wilderness. They're intelligent, beautiful and strong. This is the image I used to start making a paper leopard face. Make a paper ball and cover it with clingfilm. Place the ball on a piece of card. I added some shapes, some card shapes to make ears, but didn't stick anything down as I used the no glue method, which I'm really fond of. You just soak lots of paper in water and add layers and layers of it onto your base piece. The only thing is it does help if it's a warm day and you can do it outside because your cardboard will get very wet. It doesn't matter if you do it inside, I'd just place it on a tray so you can move it about afterwards. Keep going and going, covering and covering to make your sculpture strong. Use wet paper to make the features. Again, I didn't use any glue. I also experimented with folding and placing on wet paper, a bit like the first workshop we did where we used collage to make some features. You can also use paper pulp that's been pre-cast into a shape. Have a look at the updated paper pulp video for some ideas of how to cast paper pulp. And you can just use paper pulp and squish it into the shape that you want and place it on. This is my finished paper leopard. Some of the shapes came off, so I need to stick them back on. It took a couple of days to dry in the sun, watched by my little leopard. The clay piece still isn't dry, so I may bake it in the oven on a low heat to see if I can dry it out properly. Thanks for watching. In workshop 6 we'll focus on painting.